The day after the Presbytery voted to move me from being an inquirer to a candidate, there was an article that appeared in The Layman. Members of Boston Presbytery had to choose their words carefully September 23rd when discussing a proposed candidate for ministry. For some, the candidate was a she. Others described the candidate as a he. Still others sidestepped the problem altogether by referring to the candidate as the candidate. Several members of the Presbytery registered their protest.
I was very disappointed. The decision was rushed. This is not supported by the Bible.
And this is one of the online posts in reaction to that article in The Layman.
What a heartbreaking story, but gender cannot be changed. Mr. Herwig remains a male. Prayers for healing are an appropriate response to this case.
The summer after 8th grade, I went to an evangelistic meeting. The speaker came out and talked about God's unconditional love for everybody with no strings attached. And I thought to myself, that's what I need. That's really what I want. And so when they gave the invitation for people to come forward and commit their lives to Christ, I went forward and was born again.
My born-again friends had this new guy with them named Steve. And I met Steve over Christmas. See ya, I was done. It was one of those. He was a Bible-believing guy who loved to camp, and so did I. He loved the woods, and so did I. He loved to sing, and so did I, and he loved to play guitar, and so did I. So, it was kind of a done deal. It was one of those things that was gonna happen. Steve and I went to see the movie Jeremiah Johnson when we were, I think it was when we were seniors. And that's been my favorite movie of all time since. And we were going to make our own place in the woods. Steve drew plans of the cabin that we were going to live in. Steve drew plans of the cabin we were going to live in, and that's what we were going to do. That was part of it, but then again, he was going to seminary. He was going to be a pastor. Maybe he could have a little church in the mountains, and I could be, I was a music major. Why couldn't I could be choir director of his church? And, be song leader for Vacation Bible School, which I was anyway. So that was my trip. That was my vision of what we were going to do together.